Welcome to The Short Score, your weekly update of roping news from around the industry, where you can find the latest on the sport from the pro rodeo ranks to the jackpot world. I'm Taylor Vollen, and I'm your host. Hey everyone, welcome back to this extremely late in the week episode of The Short Score. It's your host, Taylor Vollen, of course. With this episode coming out 2 days late, I'm going to go ahead and just cut right to the chase. On this episode of The Short Score, which is brought to you by roping.com, I've got a short clip of a conversation I had with Tanner Tomlinson this week. Tanner and Patrick Smith have been fighting tooth and nail, I feel like, to climb toward the top 15 of the world standings this year, and they've landed themselves both at 21st in the world after a $14,000 a man weekend. Tanner and Patrick won Hermiston, Oregon, picking up $10,101 each just out of Hermiston. They won $2,546 a man for second in Lovington, New Mexico, and $1,417 a man for eighth in Logan, Utah. Tanner and I just briefly talked earlier this week, kind of talking about their weekend, how they're climbing in the standings, and a little bit about the mindset that they've got going into the last 5 or 6 weeks or so I think we're down to in the 2024 pro rodeo season. This episode of The Short Score is brought to you by roping.com. You already know that roping.com is the online training resource for team ropers, but did you also know it's home to so many awesome live streams like next week's Platinum Medal Futurity? The Platinum Medal Futurity will be live on roping.com August 20th through 22nd, so make sure you sign up today. Well, I see that you guys had a pretty big weekend. What'd you guys win, about 14,000?
Yes, ma'am. I think we're about 14,000.
At this time of year, are weekends like that kind of a big relief, or how are you feeling?
Yes, that's a big relief, but still need to push and have a couple more weeks like that. We got a slow start last couple weeks. We've had about $10,000 weekends the last 3 weeks, so that's helped us out a lot. We were way far behind, so now I think I'm probably like 4,000 or 5,000 out. So I've caught up, and I can't lose any ground. I got to keep pushing and get through it.
Right. Well, and that's what I was going to say is you and Patrick have really been having some good weeks. I mean, really climbing, and just kind of curious how that feels or what that's done for your confidence, kind of.
It feels good to be going the right direction for sure, but still need to not worry about that and just keep on. I mean, there's only 6 weeks left, so if we can keep pushing and keep having weeks like that, we'll be back top 10 for sure. We just can't you got to look at the bigger picture and just keep having big weeks like this, and you can't go anywhere but up from there.
Yeah. Do you guys even really pay attention to the standings at this point, or is it more about just getting the job
done?
Not
really, because our run, me and Patrick's run, if we catch, it's normally we're going to place and win something, so we just got to build on our run and work at it, and if we can put enough runs together, and it's going to work out in place. We can't do anything but help ourselves and us catch the steer. That's all we can do. We can't really look at the standings and change it by any other way besides winning. So we got to catch steers and win. That's all we can worry about doing.
I like it.
That's all I look at.
Yeah. Okay, well, Hermiston, we'll go back to the main reason.
Okay.
Tell me about your runs at Hermiston, how those went.
Well, my good horse I've been riding all year, Marshall, colicked and had that colic surgery like 4 days before Hermiston, and I actually rode our buddy Tyler Wade's horse over at Logan, Utah, and then a friend of mine, Colton Smith, let me ride his horse over in Bozeman. And then Brenton Hall told me I could ride his good horse Time Bomb over there, which is one of my favorite horses out here going. I love him. And sure enough, that's the first time I rode him too, and he was awesome. I got a really good start on the first one. Good steer, won the first round. Second one, we drew a steer that Dustin and Levi ran that was pretty stronger. They made a good run on him. So knew I was gonna try to go at him a little bit, and if it worked out like it did, we were gonna place in the second round and win the average. And sure enough, we made a really good run on him and gave us a $11,000 rodeo.
Right.
$10,000.
What'd you guys tell me about your run at Logan too? Because you picked up a little bit of money there, right? That was the other one.
Yes, we placed. We was down. We made a good run, but that rodeo got pretty tough. We were 4-7. We should have won it. I did a bad job finishing facing, or we probably would have won it. But that was the first time I rode Tyler's good horse Spur, and it felt really good. It was just we had a really good steer over there. It was just a good smooth run. And I actually messed up to have a really big week. We won second in the first round at Lovington and come back that night, and I had another really good steer, and I barely got the barrier. We would have won Lovington too. I just kind of had a mental mistake. So going into Hermiston after winning the first round, I was in the same position again. I told myself I was not going to break the barrier, and I was going to turn the steer, so I executed there. Dropped the ball in Lovington.
Now, can I ask what you're going to be riding the rest of the year? Have you got that figured out? Or
Yeah, so I'm going to ride. I have my Good Horse Freightliner. I've made the finals on the last 2 years in road. That's going to be my number one now. And then I got a horse I got not too long ago from Trevor Brazil named Claire.
Mm-hmm.
She's an 8-year-old mare I'm going to start riding for a second string out here.
Perfect.
So those are my two go-tos the rest of the year.
Gotcha. Some other big winners over the weekend. The Bray brothers, Wyatt and Peyton, are also climbing in the standings. They won $11,674 a man over the weekend, taking home the win in Lovington. They are now roughly 25th and 26th in the world. Kyle Dennison and Tanner Braden won Logan, Utah over the weekend. They pocketed about $7,938 each. Dennison moved to 22nd in the world, and Braden is still inside the top 15, now at 13th. And lastly, Andrew Ward and Colin Von On had a pretty big weekend themselves. Ward is inside the top 15, of course, but Von On is sitting just right outside at 16th. They won roughly $8,890 a man over the weekend.